Welcome to the Queue. My name is Gummy.
Hey, I'm Sammy the House, and well, Gummy's gonna tell us all about the Q.
Yeah, so the Queue is a brand new podcast. We are basically talking about the Latino customs, the lifestyle that we have, the problems, the good things, positive things, everything. Everything Latino.
The culture.
Culture, yes.
We're talking about the culture, and tell us a little bit more about you, Gummy. What do you do? Who are you?
So I am a teacher. I am a writer. I am a co-host of a podcast now.
Co-host of a podcast. I myself have been working in radio for 30 years, so I'm not unfamiliar with microphones and recording and stuff like that. I'm also a dad and a husband, and I have been called a social media influencer, and I hate that term. I really do, and no disrespect to anyone that is an actual influencer, but I think some people try to just give themselves that title. So if someone else gives it to me, I'll take it, but I don't like the term because I think it's used a little too freely.
Yeah, I agree. But this is our first episode.
It is our first episode.
So our first episode is going to cover customer service.
Customer service.
Customer service. So let me ask you,
Yeah.
what do you think constitutes good customer service?
So when I first started, not first started. I had originally worked in a restaurant before, a long time ago, and they had what was called HOSPO. It was called HOSPO, and it was HOSPO. It was an acronym. It said "Help our servers please others." So it was HOSPO, meaning hospitality, but at the same time it stood for help our servers please others. And so customer service is just, I guess, it's service to others. It's serving, and it's not just I brought you your food, or I brought you your water, or whatever. I served you. Now that might not mean anything involving food or a drink. It might just involve helping somebody out, serving somebody. One of the things that I love to subscribe to is to be into service of others. And so when you say being of service to others, it's mean helping people out. So some people don't realize that. Some people just realize, oh, I'm a server, or you can go with the old school waiter or waitress. But some people just say, I'm a server, and they just think, oh, I'm just here to serve you some food and bring you your drinks. I believe service is just being in service of others.
Yeah, so, with customer service, I was in the restaurant business, the restaurant bar industry for over 20 years. And, I haven't always practiced good customer service.
Yeah.
And even as a manager, I understand why sometimes there is bad customer service, but a lot of the times it's just, I think I attribute it to like two things. One is poor management, like the poor training, and two, laziness, right?
And some people, and you're right. Yeah, I completely agree with you on that. The management is tantamount in having great customer service throughout the whole staff. If you as a manager cannot give this to your whole staff and show them that, if the coach, this is why coaches get fired all the time. If you're the coach, you're the manager, whatever, you have to be able to show your team what they're supposed to be doing. Now, coaching also involves picking the right team, right? And sometimes some people are just not meant to be servers. Some people are just not meant to be in the service of others. Some people are just rotten and impatient, and some people are just looking for a quick buck. And I hate to say this, but they shouldn't be doing it. They shouldn't be doing it. Some people just don't want to do it. I know that I removed myself from the equation, and I don't know if this can help and others understand why I feel the way that I feel. I took myself out of the service of others when I was a server because I spent weeks training. We had just opened up a restaurant. I had spent weeks training for this, and then I finally, opened up a restaurant. I have been trained by some of the best servers in all of the company, and I was good, and I'm naturally an outspoken person, and I'm naturally a helpful person. But then when I started helping and serving certain people, I couldn't do it because, this is you're I'm a good person, but my patience only goes so far. And there are some people that are more patient than others. God bless them. God bless the people that, physical therapists, nurses, doctors. There are some people out there that really, really have an amazing, a saint-like patience. I don't,
Yes.
I am patient, but I had to remove myself from the equation because of the fact that I don't think I'm that patient.
Yeah. So like with customer service, you know, for me, the way I kind of when I was a manager, the way I kind of taught it, or the way I trained my employees was basically, communication. Right. You need to be communicating with management, with back of the house, like the kitchen. If you're a server, for example, basically communicating with everybody within the staff that's working, right? And obviously communicating with the customer.
Yeah.
Communication also, it's one thing to communicate, but there also has to be comprehension of what you're trying to communicate, right? It's just like in any relationship, right? In this case, you're establishing a rapport not only with your coworkers but also with your customer. And the more successful servers, I think, are the ones who are themselves, show their personality, and they are communicating constantly with the customers instead of just like being in the back of the house or in the kitchen or something and never taking care of the customer. The other thing would be courtesy, just being nice.
Yeah.
There's nothing, there's not, and being nice should be a standard for everybody, right? It's not something that you need to learn how to do or how to be. And so, look, customer service, I know we're talking about restaurants now, but I mean, this extends to basically every business that exists that offers a service, right? From banks, hotels to, mechanics and plumbers and so forth. So, one of the things that I'm going to talk to you a little bit about, like my pet peeves when it comes to customer service, and it kind of, as a manager, I've experienced it, and as a patron, I've experienced it as well. So, one of them would be, the communication part. So, for example, like if you have Sammy's Tacos, right,
Yeah.
and you
Great tacos, by the way.
and you have a social media presence,
Yeah.
right? You have maybe like a Snapchat, whatever it is, right? So, if you're gonna have a social media presence, to me, then you should have either yourself or somebody taking care of your social media. Otherwise, why even bother having it?
So I'm going to stop you right there because actually I was having this conversation with somebody. I think it was Saturday night or Friday night. So, as Sammy Tacos, what am I in to the business? Am I just the face of the business? Am I the chef? Am I the business owner? Am I, what am I at this
Well,
point?
whatever.
So the reason I say this is because I have a friend who's a chef and owner of a taco stand, and I was talking to him about his social media, and we both agreed he can't be making the food,
Of course, yeah.
and being on social media at the same time. He needs a social media manager.
Yeah, so he needs to appoint somebody, and this is what I mean. As a manager, you're always going to delegate jobs to different people, right?
Yeah.
So, if you have a social media presence, again, somebody should be taking care of that. Well, if it's not you because you're too busy,
Yeah.
then have a manager, a supervisor, or even a family member just take care of your social media.
Yeah.
Because what happens is that, as a manager, as a former manager, I don't really like to call the place. Because if I have a question about the menu or something, a lot of times when I call, I know that the people are busy. Like the actual workers, like even the manager might be busy.
Yeah.
So, and my question isn't that important for them to, stop what they're doing and answer my question. At least that's how I feel, right? So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send them a message on, say, Facebook. But then that message never gets read.
Yeah.
So, to me, that's poor customer service because if I'm trying to reach out to you, I mean, sure, I can go to the place, right? I can call, but again, I'm trying to be considerate in the fact that I'm gonna call. My question isn't that important, and I can wait. But if I wait 3-4 days for an answer that should be very simple to answer, why aren't they answering?
We're gonna record this July 3rd, 10:28 a.m. My first disagreement with you on the show. You ready? I just told you that this guy right here, he's both the chef and the owner of his own restaurant, right? And now you're saying, well, you have a problem or you have a concern and you want them to know about it, so you're going to be courteous. You're not going to call them and you're not going to go up to them, right? You're going to send them a message. But this guy, who's both the chef and the owner, hasn't checked his messages and he hasn't replied to you, and you think it's bad customer service. I think that if we're talking about a local business that's barely starting out, right, and they don't have anyone that's dedicated to their social media management, I think it's unfair that you think it's bad customer service. I think they're doing the best that they can because of the fact that he's both the chef and the owner, and he's trying to get to social media because he still doesn't have that social media management. Now, if this business were to be doing a little bit better and could afford a social media manager, I would assume, hey, they better get back to you right away. But you cannot assume that it's bad service because you didn't feel like going in, because you didn't feel like calling. Yeah, I know what you're saying. I'm being courteous by not bothering them, but if it's really that important, get in there or call. But that's my opinion. I know that your style would be like, I'll just send them a social media message. But if you're gonna just do that, don't give them a hard time, if they don't get back to you, because it is social media.
Well, yeah. If it's a brand new business, I understand that. But at the same time,
If it's a corporate business, if it's a big corporate business, yeah.
but it goes back to the point. Then don't have social media until you are, you've already established. You have people, and again, it doesn't have to be somebody that you hire. It could be, like your wife, or it could be your daughter, your son, whoever. It could be a family member. I'm just saying. So, for example, even if I may not have the time, because when you call, obviously it can drag on and stuff. I can, if I want a plate for a party, like a platter or something, and it's like $100 or $200, and I send you a message to Sammy's Tacos, and 3 or 4 days pass, you just lost $200 worth of business because nobody's checking your social media. Now I understand, like your buddy, for example.
But is that the protocol? Is that the protocol on how to make an order? Can you really just order through DM?
Wouldn't that be the same thing, though?
I mean, a good business would tell you how to make orders. And maybe they have a link, maybe they have an email, a dedicated email, or orders by phone, and they'll specify. But if I were to have a business, I would not be taking orders through DM. I would find either a special link, an order form online. If I'm going to be taking orders online, I wouldn't just do it through DM. And I'll give you a better explanation. So let's pretend you have a corporate restaurant, right? Gummies Worldwide, right? Gummies Worldwide, and everyone and their mother who's just online knows the brand Gummies Worldwide, and they know that you're a big corporation. So guess what? You've got online, what do they call them? Trolls.
Yeah.
You got trolls, and all these people are just sending you messages to your DMs left and right, trying to mess with you. So guess what's going to happen? Let's pretend, even as a big corporation, as Gummies Worldwide, you have a social media manager. Do you expect your social media manager to go through thousands and thousands of DMs that are just trying to troll you to find the one order or the one complaint?
Yeah.
Really?
If that's his job or her job, then yeah.
Thousands upon thousands of DMs.
Well, if I'm going to be a corporation, though, I wouldn't have one person taking care of all that.
Yeah.
And I would have a team to do that. But that would be, and look, most corporations, if you like, they have a designated person for anything, right? If you want like to fundraise, or you want, to do a party or something, they have them in different, whether it's a local manager or an area manager or something. They have people who have been delegated these particular jobs, right?
Yeah.
And the thing again, it might, like, and you said you kind of said what I wanted to say. You should have, if you're not taking orders through, and mind you, look, and if you send a message, it could be just hours or something like that. I may not have, maybe I didn't have the time because maybe I'm driving and I just kind of took the 3 seconds in the red light to send a message like, what are your hours? I could have gone to the website and get that information. However, like the business doesn't know like what I'm doing, right? They don't know like my busy schedule, or if I'm even busy at all, or if I'm just being lazy.
Yeah.
So, but again, customer service, you're catering to the customer. So you said, well, then you should have an order form or put somewhere. Exactly, that's what you should have. If in your, say I go to Facebook, I go to Sammy's Tacos on Facebook, and then it says, we don't take orders, through Messenger or through social media. Please call this number or go through this. Or then okay, you know what? I messed up. I just saw this, and that's that.
Yeah.
Because now you've established like, see, now you're directing. You're showing the customer, this is how we're gonna take the order.
Yeah.
Okay. And so what I'm saying is a lot of businesses don't do that, and that's where they kind of suffer. And look, it's as simple as this. If I need, like, say, a remodeling job in my house, maybe I need to redo my bathroom or something. I'm driving by and I see, Jimmy's remodeling, and I call the number, and the guy tells me, oh yeah, I'll be there tomorrow at 12. He answers the phone, right? He answers the phone, gives me a time that he'll be there tomorrow, and this has happened quite a lot. They don't show up. And then again, it goes back to,
That's Jimmy's fault.
it is Jimmy's fault.
That's Jimmy's fault.
But same thing. Like, you have to convenience your customer. It has to be like, you have to be user friendly, basically, right? And so anywhere you go, whatever service you're providing, you have to make it as easy as possible for your customer to get a hold of you.
Yeah.
And you have to direct your customer on how to do what it is that you want to do.
Yeah.
What you want them to do, whether it's taking an order or applying for a job or anything. And look, most bigger corporations, they do have that set already. It's not something that, you have to be looking. A lot of times you go to a website and on the very bottom it says careers, and so that's where you're going to apply and stuff. So a lot of it is common sense. But when you're talking about local businesses that are smaller businesses, I don't think that you have people that really think all this through.
No. I mean, of course, it's their first business. They're starting off
Yeah.
small. Anyone that would have some kind of business savvy would already have known this. But since they are starter businesses, and there is a lot of that happening now. People just look. The workforce is being dwindled down into, like, well, you know what? There's AI now, and there's all these people that are being replaced by just computers and websites and apps. So what's happening now is that all these people are trying to start their own little businesses,
Yeah.
and they don't know, and I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt. I'm the first guy that would complain, like, hey, give me service, but these are small businesses.
Yeah.
These are small businesses, and they're starters, and not everyone thought about the link to the order, or checking every DM, and then if it is a corporation, like I said, thousands upon thousands, if you have a team of maybe 4 social media managers and you have 1,000 trolls flying at you with all these messages, something's going to slip. They're not going to catch every message.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, you have to look, for people that are starting like small businesses. Obviously, you have to respect their drive, right? Their determination. They're fulfilling a dream, And as long as they are open to, to advice, to criticisms or critiques, then I don't see why they shouldn't be successful and learn, right? Because again, if I start a business and I'm not a business major, or I've never even opened a business before, and I might forget, oh, I didn't do this or I didn't do that, or oh, I don't even have an application form, for employees or anything.
Yeah.
So you're gonna get customers. They're gonna say, hey, well, dude, I was messaging you on Facebook or Instagram and nobody ever answered. Oh, okay. So then you learn. But there's a lot of people that are just like, and I want to say a lot, but I've been in those situations where
some people can't take criticism.
Yeah, and I think if you're gonna look, you're out there, you're putting your finances on the line, you're risking, which is admirable. We need more businesses, we need more small businesses. That is admirable, but you do have to be open to criticisms, or critiques rather, and then learn from that, because you might have something in mind, and then your clientele kind of drives you to another direction, and well, if that other direction is going to make you more profit and keep your business open, well then yeah, you should be open to that.
One of the scariest things I've ever heard, and it's so scary that I learned it and that I've memorized it and it's etched in my brain now, is the term adapt or die. And
Yeah.
if you are a business person or if you want to succeed in anything, you really truly have to adapt or die because things are changing all the time. And if I were to open up Sammy's Tacos, I need to understand that some of my customers might want to send me a DM or send me or click on a link and order that way. So there's people now, and it sucks because social media and because apps have made it so much easier to be what's the word, antisocial. You know,
Yeah.
if you want to be antisocial, if you want to be that kind of person, what's the word though? The people that are just stuck in their houses and they don't want to do anything, they don't want to socialize. What?
Like homebodies.
Not homebody. There's a word for it, but they people just don't want to interact with people. Now you have to understand that it's made it easier.
Hermit.
Not a there's a word for it, man. Anyway, and it escapes me right now. But there's people right now that do not want to interact with anybody, and they still want to make a purchase, and they want to purchase something from your business, and you cannot alienate them. You can't, because that's money. If you want to be the best taco stand, someone out there just doesn't want to interact with you. They want you to drop it off at the
Yeah.
doorstep. They don't want to open the door for you. They just want to hide in their little world. But at the same time, they've got disposable income that could be yours, and you have to adapt. Because if not, they're going to go to the other taco stand that will deal with them, that will put up a link or answer a DM. So I agree with you there.
Yeah. And then, well, during COVID, we saw a lot of that using
Yeah.
Uber Eats and stuff like that. The other pet peeve that I have is not having access to management. So let me tell you a little story. So last year, as a teacher, so I have a club at school, and I was doing a project that was a fundraiser, and we decided that we were going to do a discount card.
Yeah.
So last summer, if you remember, gas prices were higher than they are now.
Yeah.
So I had to drive around town, 4 or 5 hours a day, every single day, calling and going to these places. And a lot of times, the managers, the more established businesses, the managers that were there would tell me yes or no right on the spot, which is great, right? I mean, obviously you're gonna have businesses that say no, and that's fine too. It's their option, right? Their choice. But there are places I would go to, and I would ask for, and some of these places are well-known places in town, and so I would go to these places, and they're Mexican restaurants, right? So I would go and I would ask for the manager. She's not here. So is there anybody like in any sort of leadership role, like in the place? Nope. So I would leave my card, leave, and then it's like, well, you can come back at 2:00 or whatever, right?
Uh-huh.
So then I would go back, still not here. And I went back like 3 or 4 times to this place. The manager was never there. So there's two things there. One,
I don't buy it.
so one, either that place does not have a manager there, which is horribly irresponsible,
Uh-huh.
or two, they don't want to talk to me
Yeah.
for whatever reason. Now, the other thing that I hate within that scenario is when employees screen. And to me, it's either you're screening for your manager, which is a horrible thing to do also,
Uh-huh.
or you're just being nosy. So if I go to a place and I say, hey, can I speak to your manager? And so the most likely question that's going to follow up is, oh, well, who are you? Right? Like, what's your name? And then so I'll say my name. And then they'll ask, oh, what do you want to speak to them about? Well, that's like, why are you asking me that? Like, are you the person that's going to take care of my problem?
Yeah.
If you're not, then I don't need to talk to you about this, right? This is why you're asking for the manager. Now, a manager, and this is where I think management should delegate, responsibilities. And I mean, for the most part, they do, right? A general manager, they might be in a meeting, they might be in a phone call, they might be firing somebody or something.
Uh-huh.
They might be busy for whatever reason. And so they may not always be available to talk to you, especially not something instantaneous, right? They might say, come back in 20 minutes if you can. But if they are not available, then they should have somebody, maybe an assistant manager or anybody in a leadership role, to take care of my whatever I have to, talk to them about. Some places that I went to, that's exactly what happened. Manager wasn't available, but somebody who was available was taking care of,
Crew leader, whatever.
yeah, was taking care of what I needed to take care of, right? And that was it. And for the most part, the majority of businesses were upfront. Some said, give me a few days to give you an answer, and they did. But there were some businesses that, for whatever reason, they just couldn't say no. So it was always like, well, come back tomorrow, or do this, or do that. And, I never really got an answer from that business. And some of those places have shut down, unfortunately. But I think, it comes down to this. Just take care of your customer. You don't need employees to be screening for the manager.
Yeah.
Especially if I'm sitting there eating, then yes, maybe I have a complaint. This is why I want to talk to the manager. But if I just walk in and just say, hey, can I talk to the manager? My name is so-and-so, then that's it. Well, he or she's not available. And again, the communication. Just communicate.
I think the problem lies a little bit deeper than that. I think what's happening is, okay, so maybe they are screening, right, for the manager. But I think what might be happening is that the manager doesn't get paid enough. You know what I mean? Like, I think some of these businesses are just not paying their management enough. And so the manager, right, they have someone underqualified as a management position, and that guy or that girl is just nervous, doesn't want to talk to somebody. First of all, you should hire somebody that's qualified to be a manager,
Yes.
and at the same time, you should pay them to be a manager, right? But let's say, let's pretend you have a business and you hire an underqualified person to be your manager, and you're not paying them very well. You can't expect them to want to be willing to talk to everybody. I think, and again, I'm not defending them. I'm saying you might have walked into some places that were just had some underpaid management. And I think maybe, I think that a good manager is willing to talk to anybody and can talk to anybody. I think a good manager can take care of any situation. And also to address what you said about, a good yes or no is fine. I respect a no more than I respect ghosting. So, don't just be like, I'll get back to you, bro, and not get back to me. Just say, you know what, man, thank you for your offer. We're not interested. Plain and simple. That's a very polite way to say no. Thank you for your offer. It seems like a good one. We are not interested at the moment, or not, come back in a while, or come back tomorrow, or come back next week. But as long as you don't leave somebody hanging. I would suggest this to anybody in anything. I think for men, for women, in any situation, whether it's management, whether it's service, whether it's a boy or a girl in a relationship, if you don't like this guy, ladies, or gentlemen, if you don't like a girl, just, you know what, not interested. Don't. I've always thought this. Don't lead people on in business or in relationships. Say no.
Some people, for whatever reason, and this has nothing to do with age, but some people are afraid to say no.
I think it is something with age. I think that, when we were the older guys, us old heads, we learned no because our parents told us no.
Yeah.
And now
that's all we heard.
Parents don't say no anymore. There's a new conditioning that's happened where people just they're like, no, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Feelings are gonna get hurt. That's what sadness is for. Sadness is one of the feelings. Disappointment is one of the feelings, and you can't just eliminate that feeling. People are gonna be sad and disappointed and rejected eventually, and it teaches you to deal with that feeling. And so say no, people. Say no. Don't ghost.
And the thing is, for me, especially because I'm the guy driving around town, you go three or four times to this place only to have them tell you no. when they could have just told me no in the beginning, right? But yeah, I did spend $400 in like 3 weeks just in gas, going up and down. And look, it's I'm the one trying to get the companies or the businesses to for the fundraiser, so I'm not really complaining about it because I mean it's at least I did get 27 businesses to participate in all that, but a lot of it could have saved me time and money if management was either there or they just could have told me no from the very beginning.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I do sales also, with my social media and with radio as well, and a lot of times, people just leave you hanging. It's like, just tell me no. Or what I really like? I like it when people tell me whatever you're selling me, it's too much, it's too expensive, it's too much, or it's not what I want, because things can happen. Like, things can happen. If you really want to do business with people, talk to people.
So look, as a manager of any place, especially in restaurants, right? You have to expect people to go to your place and ask you for sponsorships, donations, or whatever, because you're open because of the community. So more than likely, you should be you're expected to give back to the community, right? And a lot of places they do donate or sponsor something in one way or another, which is great, right? Let's end it with this question then.
Okay.
So to end the podcast, I'm gonna ask you this question: true or false?
Okay.
And then explain to me why.
Okay. By the way, if anybody has any comments on today's podcast, there's ways that you can reach out to us, and Gummi will tell you how right now. But ask me the true or false.
So true or false? The customer is always right.
True or false? The customer is always right. False. False. I think that's an old term. That's an old phrase, and I think it should be changed. I don't know where it started, but I honestly think it should be updated. And the customer is not always right, but the customer should be served to the best of everyone's abilities. And I think everyone should make an effort. I think the customer should be taken care of. I think that if you want customers, you need to serve your customers. I think that you need to provide them with good service. If a customer is wrong, if a customer is rude, if a customer is trying to take advantage, then that customer definitely is wrong. If a customer comes in and tries to take advantage of my wife, my son, my daughter, tries to be rude to anyone that I love, I'm going to tell you straight out, you are wrong. You are wrong. Should they try to make the best efforts to make everyone happy? Yes, by all means. If you are in business, you should provide service to everyone. If somebody is rude, you ask them, and this is what I do believe in. Sometimes you can refuse service to somebody. Everyone has that right. That you have the right to refuse service, and I think that to testament to what you said, it begins with management, and I think the manager should show their staff how to handle things to the best of their ability. All right. Now, if someone has something to comment on this or say something about this, where can they reach out to us?
So we have a YouTube channel, right, which is at the QLTX. Also, we also have Instagram, which is the same thing, the QLTX. TikTok, we also have a TikTok, which is the same as they're all the QLTX.
The Q, and that's THECUELTX. Yeah, THECUELTX, the QLTX, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and Facebook.
Facebook it's the same thing, the QLTX.
The QLTX. All right. We got to go. So thanks for listening to the first episode of The Q.